The alien challenge when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Hall of the Galactic Council was the largest chamber in known space. Its walls were carved from living crystal, glowing with soft blue light. Thousands of alien leaders filled the seats, their voices echoing like a storm. It was not a day of peace, it was a trial. At the center of the hall, Earth's future would be decided. The council speaker, a towering creature with scales like obsidian. Stone raised his voice. "Humans of Earth," he hissed, "you claim a place among the stars. You claim strength, but strength is proven, not spoken." Murmurs filled the chamber. Alien eyes turned toward the small human delegation. Compared to the tall, monstrous shapes around them, the humans looked fragile, almost laughable. Their leader, Ambassador Kane, stood calm, though his heart pounded. He knew this was not just politics, this was survival. One alien warlord, General Vorkesh of the Croth Dominion, rose from his seat. His armor gleamed, his eyes burned red. "I have fought in 100 wars," he growled. "I have crushed empires greater than your tiny world. Humanity is weak, soft. You cannot defend yourselves. Admit this truth, or we will show the galaxy your ashes." The hall erupted in cruel laughter. Some aliens banged their claws against the stone tables. Others flashed sharp teeth in mockery. The sound echoed like thunder. Ambassador Kane did not move. He let the laughter roll, then spoke in a steady voice. "You think us weak because we are small. You think us fragile because our bodies are not armored like yours. You believe firepower belongs only to you. But you forget Earth has a history of wars longer than your empire has existed." The laughter slowed. Kane's words carried weight, though few believed him. Another voice rose, this one from the sleek, silver-skinned leader of the Velari. "Human words are dust. Show us action. If you claim strength, then prove it. The Council demands a trial by combat fleet against fleet. If humanity survives, you may take your seat. If not, your species will be erased." Gasps filled the chamber. A trial by combat meant death. Against the gathered fleets, humanity stood no chance. At least, that's what the aliens believed. Ambassador Kane's face remained calm. Inside, he remembered the secret fleet hidden far from alien eyes. Ships built in silence. Weapons no alien had ever seen. Humanity had prepared for this moment. They had always known the galaxy would test them. Kane raised his hand and said firmly, "We accept." The chamber froze. Shock rippled through the council. No one had expected the humans to agree. Some aliens sneered, already seeing the humans' doom. Others whispered uneasily, sensing something hidden behind Kane's calm eyes. General Vorkesh leaned forward, his voice dripping with mockery. "Brave words for a fragile species. Very well. Tomorrow, your ships will face mine. And when they burn, the galaxy will remember the day humanity begged for mercy." But Kane's reply was quiet, almost too quiet. "We will not beg." The words struck the hall like a blade. The council speaker banged his staff. "So it is decided. At dawn, the trial begins. Humanity will prove its worth or perish." As the session ended, alien leaders filed out, some laughing, others muttering. The humans were left alone in the vast chamber. Kane turned to his small team. His eyes, sharp and steady, burned with determination. "They think we are weak. Tomorrow, they will learn what Earth's firepower truly means." Far away, hidden in the dark of space, the human fleet waited. Ships of steel and fire. Silent, patient, deadly. Their weapons hummed. With power, weapons built not only to defend Earth, but to shake the stars themselves. The galaxy thought humans were prey. Tomorrow, they would see the hunters. Asterisk humanity stands tall when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Alien fleets gathered above the Council's war arena, a vast stretch of deep space marked only by silent satellites. It was a place where empires settled disputes with fire, where the weak vanished and the strong carved their names into history. Dozens of alien armadas hung in the dark. Their ships glittered like shards of steel, each vessel bristling with cannons. Massive battleships, carriers, and destroyers floated with silent confidence. The stars themselves seemed to bow before such power. And then came the humans. Single formation of ships emerged from the void. Smaller, fewer, almost humble compared to the alien giants. Many in the council chambers, watching through vast holographic screens, laughed again. That is all humanity can muster? One alien lord sneered. They come to their death willingly. Hissed another, but the humans did not waver. Their ships moved with quiet discipline, a formation too perfect to be chance. They did not scatter, they did not falter. Every movement was precise, as if invisible strings guided them. At the front of the fleet, the human flagship Resolute shone with cold light. On its command bridge stood Admiral Sarah Holt, a woman whose face carried both scars and calm resolve. She looked at the enemy fleets stretching across the void and felt no fear. Signal from the council, her officer said. They demand surrender before the battle begins. If we kneel now, humanity may live as slaves. The bridge fell silent, eyes turning to their admiral. Holt's voice was steady. Tell them this. Humanity kneels to no one. The message echoed across the galaxy. Aliens blinked in shock. Some laughed harder. Others frowned, unsettled by the humans' unshaken resolve. General Vorkish, commanding the Croth Dominion fleet, snarled from his throne. His red eyes gleamed with cruel delight. They still pretend to be strong. Very well. Break them. Let. The galaxy watched their fire burn out. A horn blast signaled the beginning. The alien fleets advanced, engines roaring like thunder. Energy beams charged, missiles armed, cannons primed. It was a storm of power, enough to erase a small world. Human fleet did not move. Admiral Holt stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her eyes calm as the void. Her officers trembled, but her voice cut through the fear. Hold, let them come. The alien storm grew closer, weapons glowing brighter, death racing toward the humans. Spectators across the galaxy leaned forward, expecting the humans to break. Formation, to scatter, to run. But they did not. Closer, closer. The alien fleets unleashed the first strike. Beams of searing energy lanced through space. Missiles streaked like burning stars. The human fleet was swallowed in fire. For a moment, the galaxy thought it was over. Surely nothing could survive. But when the flames cleared, the human formation was still there. Shields shimmered, stronger than anyone believed possible. Not a single ship had fallen. Gasps filled the council chamber. Warlords rose from their seats, eyes wide. Even Vorkish froze for a breath, his cruel smile faltering. Admiral Holt gave her first command. Return fire. The Resolute's cannons roared. A single beam of golden light shot across the void. It struck an alien cruiser, slicing through its shield like paper. The ship erupted in fire, breaking apart in seconds. The galaxy went silent. Then another human ship fired, and another. Each shot was precise, cold, devastating. Alien destroyers shattered. Carriers crumbled. What should have been a one-sided massacre turned into horror for the aliens. On the council screens, the impossible was unfolding. Humanity was not breaking. Humanity was striking back. General Vorkish slammed his claws against the armrest of his throne. No! Press harder! Crush them! But his own commanders hesitated. Fear spread through the alien fleets. The humans were too calm, too disciplined, too deadly. On the Resolute, Admiral Holt whispered to herself, though her crew heard her clearly. They wanted proof of our strength. Let them see it. The alien fleet surged again, desperate to overwhelm, but the humans moved as one. Every ship fired with precision, every strike tearing holes into enemy lines. It was not luck. It was not chance. It was training, technology, and the quiet fire of a species that had always fought to survive. From the shadows of space, hidden drones awoke. Small, nearly invisible, they darted through the battlefield, jamming enemy sensors and feeding false signals. Alien cannons missed their targets. Human shots struck true. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some leaders shouted in disbelief, others in terror. A few whispered the words no one wanted to admit. Humans might actually win. And on the human flagship, Admiral Holt's eyes hardened. She knew this was only the beginning. The aliens had seen nothing yet. She raised her hand. Prepare the next strike. The galaxy will remember today. The void trembled with fire. Humanity was no longer the prey. They were the hunters. Asterisk. The first clash when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Battlefield had become a sea of burning wrecks. Alien ships drifted lifeless in the void, their hulls split apart, their crews silent. Yet the war was far from over. The combined fleets of the galaxy still outnumbered the humans 10-1 in the council chamber. Leaders shouted over one another. Some demanded immediate withdrawal. Others cried for vengeance. The speaker pounded his staff, but even his voice could not silence the storm. All across the galaxy, people watched in disbelief. Humans were not breaking. They were fighting back, and worse, they were winning. General Vorkish, furious beyond words, snarled at his officers. Form the hammer. Encircle them and crush them. I want no survivors. The Croth Dominion fleet moved swiftly, massive battleships closing in from every side. Their weapons glowed with killing light. The humans were being surrounded. It looked like the end. On the Resolute, Admiral Holt stood at the center of the command bridge. Around her, crew members worked with steel nerves, though their hands shook. Enemy ships filled every screen. The odds were overwhelming. They're trying to box us in, said her tactical officer. They believe we are trapped, Holt replied softly. Her eyes narrowed, a spark of steel in her gaze. But they are wrong. Signal the fleet. Execute maneuver Aegis. The human ships responded instantly. Instead of retreating, they tightened their formation, turning into a perfect wall of steel. Shields overlapped, weapons locked forward, engines roared as one. It was not defense. It was preparation. The alien fleets closed, beams and missiles streaking toward the humans. Explosions lit up the dark like dying stars. The human wall shook but held. Then Holt gave the order. Now return fire. The Resolute unleashed its cannons. The wall of human ships became a storm of light, every weapon firing in unison. The void itself seemed to burn. Alien battleships crumbled under the barrage, their armor torn apart, their crews vanishing in flames. A single salvo from them. The humans destroyed 5 enemy warships. The next destroyed 10 more. Gasps spread across the council. Alien commanders could not believe what they were seeing. Their weapons. They're cutting through our shields like they're nothing. One shouted in horror that the humans had revealed a secret. Their cannons were not ordinary plasma or energy beams. They were mass driver's railguns of terrifying size, firing projectiles at near light speed. The kinetic force was unstoppable, tearing apart alien ships that thought themselves invincible. General Vorkesh's fleet staggered. His commanders screamed for orders, but panic had already set in. The humans pressed forward, their fragile fleet breaking apart ships 3 times their size. On the Resolute, Holt's voice remained calm. Do not chase them. Hold the wall. Strike with precision. And they did. Every shot was measured. Every strike devastating. Alien cruisers exploded one after another, filling the void with debris. The humans moved like hunters, not prey. The council chamber grew silent. Even the loudest warlords now sat frozen, watching their weak enemies shatter fleets with terrifying ease. But Vorkish was not finished. Rage boiled in his chest. He slammed his clawed fist onto the command console. Enough, bring forward. The dreadnought. From the shadows of space, a colossal shape emerged. Larger than any human ship, larger even than the Resolute. Its hull stretched miles long, bristling with cannons. A beast of war, forged to end civilizations. The alien dreadnought had arrived. The council erupted with cheers. Many believed the battle was finally turning. The humans had proven strong, but no one, not even them, could stand against a ship like this. On the Resolute, the bridge fell silent as the giant appeared on their screens. Even Holt's crew trembled. Admiral. It's massive, one whispered. Another muttered. One shot from that thing could wipe us out. For a long moment, Holt said nothing. Her eyes studied the dreadnought, her mind weighing choices. Finally, she spoke. Ready the lance. The crew froze. The lance was not an ordinary weapon. It was the humans' deepest secret, a weapon untested. In real battle, a weapon that could either save them or doom them all. Her officers looked at her with wide eyes, but no one argued. They trusted her. The Resolute's power core flared to life. Energy built within the ship, humming like the heartbeat of a titan. The lance began to charge. Across the battlefield, the dreadnought opened fire. Beams of pure destruction slashed. Across the void, smashing into human shields. Several ships buckled, their hulls cracking, but they held long enough. On the council screens, the galaxy watched in breathless silence. The humans were preparing something. Something no one had ever seen before. Admiral Holt raised her hand. Her voice was steady, carrying the weight of a world. Target locked. Fire the lance. The void lit up with a spear of golden light. Got it shot across space in a heartbeat, faster than thought, brighter than a star. It struck the alien dreadnought head on. For one impossible second, the massive ship resisted. Then its hull cracked. Then its shattered dot, the dreadnought, exploded in a storm of fire and broken steel. The shockwave tore through nearby alien ships, scattering them like dust. The battlefield went silent. The galaxy went silent. Humanity had just destroyed the strongest warship in the known galaxy with a single shot. On the Resolute, Holt whispered the words every alien would remember for generations. Now they will see. Now they will understand. Asterisk the galaxy trembles when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The void was silent after the blast. The alien dreadnought, the pride of the Croth Dominion, was nothing but burning fragments drifting among the stars. What had been the symbol of alien dominance now floated as ruins, broken by a single human strike. Across the battlefield, alien fleets froze. Crews stared in shock, hands shaking at their controls. For centuries, no empire had dared to imagine such a thing, that one ship, one human ship, could annihilate the strongest vessel in the galaxy. On the Council's great screens, the silence was unbearable. Leaders who had mocked humanity now sat in stunned silence. Even the arrogant warlords who once shouted for human destruction kept their mouths closed. The sound of the explosion still seemed to echo through their bones. Finally, whispers began. They destroyed it. A single shot? What? What are these humans? General Vorkesh slammed his fist on the command console. his red eyes burning with fury. His fleet was broken, his greatest weapon gone. But his voice roared across the channel. This battle is not over. Crush them all. Every ship, attack, his commanders hesitated. Fear had already taken root. Some obeyed, pushing their fleets forward, but many others faltered. They had seen what humanity's firepower could do. On the Resolute, Admiral Holt stood steady. Her face was calm, but inside she knew the truth. This was no longer just a battle. This was history. Status? She asked. Her officers answered quickly. Shields holding at 60%. Minor hull damage on the Vanguard and Stalwart, but all ships remain operational. And the Lance? Holt asked. Recharging, Admiral. It will take time. Holt nodded. They had revealed their greatest weapon, but it would not be ready again soon. Now they had to rely on discipline, on precision, on courage. The alien fleets tried once more to rally. Waves of ships advanced, weapons blazing. Human shields flared under the storm, but the fleet held the line. Railguns fired, cutting ships apart with ruthless accuracy. Smaller human craft darted like wolves among the giants, striking weak points. Vanishing before counterfire, the battlefield became a graveyard. Alien wrecks floated alongside human debris, but the balance was clear. Humanity was no longer the victim. They were winning, and far beyond the battlefield, the galaxy trembled. News spread faster than light, carried by relays and transmissions. Across alien worlds, civilians gathered around great screens, watching the impossible. Farmers, miners, merchants, even children, all saw the dreadnought fall in flames. On the homeworld of the Valari, silver-skinned priests whispered in fear. The humans, they hold the fire of gods. On the distant colonies of Iziron, young warriors who had once laughed at Earth now stared in silence, wondering if they would ever face these humans in battle. Even the silent rulers of the Cray. Dominion, a race older than most stars, stirred in their shadowed palaces. Their voices were whispers, but their fear was real. A new power rises, one we cannot control. The galaxy had seen firepower before, but never like this. Never from a species so young, so underestimated. Back in the council chamber, chaos erupted. Leaders shouted, demanding answers. Some screamed for peace, begging to open talks with Earth before more fleets were destroyed. Others still demanded war, their pride unwilling to bow. The council speaker's booming voice silenced them. All. Enough. What we have seen cannot be ignored. Humanity has proven firepower beyond measure. The question is this: will they use it for peace or for conquest? That question burned in every alien heart. On the Resolute, Holt listened as her crew cheered quietly at the destruction of the dreadnought. But she did not cheer. She knew what was coming next. Admiral, her officer said softly, we've won the day. Holt shook her head. No, we've shown our strength, but now the galaxy will fear us. They will not forgive us. They will not forget. She looked out at the field of wreckage, her eyes hard. This was not just a victory. This was a warning. And the galaxy will answer it. As if to prove her words, long-range sensors blared to life. A new wave of fleets was detected, gathering at the edge of the system. More empires had joined, unwilling to let humans rise unchecked. The council chamber erupted again as reports poured in. Entire empires were mobilizing. Some wished to crush Earth before it grew stronger. Others considered allying with humans out of fear. The galaxy stood on the edge of a new war, and Admiral Holt, staring into the void, whispered the words that set the hook for what was to come. They tremble now, but soon they must choose, stand with us or fall before us. Unleashing the true power when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story, the battlefield drifted in eerie, Silence, littered with the burning remains of alien ships. Humanity had won the first trial, but there was no time to celebrate. Long-range scans showed more fleets arriving at the system's edge, armadas larger than anything the humans had faced so far. The Council had called in reinforcements. Entire empires now moved as one, united by fear and pride. On the Resolute, Admiral Holt stood still as reports came in. Her officers' voices carried both awe and dread. Admiral, multiple signatures detected thousands of ships. The Council has committed everything. They mean to crush us completely, another whispered. Holt's eyes narrowed. Her voice was steady, cold as steel. Then we will show them everything. The alien fleets advanced, forming a wall of firepower that stretched across the stars. Battleships, dreadnoughts, carriers all prepared to erase humanity from existence. The galaxy watched with bated breath, certain this would be the end. But humanity had been preparing for this moment, long before the Council's challenge. Holt gave the order. Activate Project Helios. The fleet shifted. Panels opened across human ships, revealing strange weapons hidden until now. Giant arrays unfolded like wings, glowing with energy. Drones launched in swarms, their hulls shimmering with cloaking fields. At the center of it, all the Resolute's core pulsed with a light so bright it seemed alive. The aliens laughed at first. To them, these weapons looked fragile, experimental, untested. But their laughter turned to silence when the first shot was fired. The Resolute unleashed a beam of pure white fire. It was not a simple cannon blast. It was concentrated solar energy, harvested and compressed until it burned hotter than a star. The beam tore through the alien front line, cutting 3 ships in half with a single strike. Gasps filled the council chamber. Some alien leaders stood in disbelief. Others fell silent in terror. Then the drones attacked. Thousands of them darted into enemy formations, invisible to sensors, striking weak points with surgical precision. Engines died. Ammunition detonated. Cruisers spiraled out of control, colliding with their allies in deadly chain reactions. Impossible? A Veilari commander whispered as half his fleet crumbled. No species should have weapons like this. But humanity did, and they had kept them hidden, waiting for this very moment. On the Resolute, Holt's voice rang across the command deck. Focus fire on their flagships. Break their command structure. Without leaders, the fleets will scatter. The order was carried out with brutal efficiency. Railguns roared, lances fired, drones swarmed. One by one, alien command ships vanished. In fire and silence, what had been a proud armada became a broken storm. Ships crashing, fleeing, dying. The galaxy trembled again. This was no longer a battle. It was a massacre. But humanity was not finished. Holt's hand hovered above the final control, the weapon even her own officers feared. She looked around the bridge. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide. They knew what she was about to unleash. Admiral, one whispered, if we use that, there's no going back. Holt's gaze never wavered. The Council gathered the galaxy to destroy us. If we falter now, Earth will never be safe. We must show them what waits in the dark. Her hand fell. Release the Titan. Far behind the fleet, hidden deep in the void, a massive shape stirred. Larger than any human ship seen before, its black hull absorbed the starlight, almost invisible until it moved. The Titan-class warship humanity's ultimate weapon awoke, got its engines flared, shaking the void. Its cannons glowed with deadly power. For years, Earth had poured everything into its construction, keeping it a secret from alien eyes. And now, it arrived on the battlefield like a nightmare made real. Alien fleets froze. Even from a distance, the Titan radiated power. It was more than a ship, it was a declaration. The Titan's main gun fired once. A sphere of compressed energy expanded outward, swallowing an entire fleet in seconds. Dozens of alien ships vanished, erased as if they had never existed. The silence that followed was deafening. In the council chamber, chaos exploded. Some leaders shouted for retreat, others for surrender. A few still demanded war, but their voices were drowned by the fear spreading like wildfire. Enough! The speaker roared. This cannot continue. Humanity must be stopped before they destroy us all. But deep down, every leader knew the truth. Humanity was no longer the weak newcomer. Humanity had become the storm. On the Resolute, Holt stood, with her crew, watching the Titan carve through enemy fleets. For a moment, her officers smiled. For a moment, victory seemed certain, but Holt's eyes darkened. She knew what the galaxy would do now. They would never forgive this show of power. They would never forget the day humans unleashed the Titan. "Admiral," her officer whispered, "the galaxy is breaking." Holt's reply was quiet, but filled with steel. "No, the galaxy is choosing, and soon every empire must decide stand with us, or fall before us." Asterisk, the choice of the galaxy when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story. Battlefield was over. Alien wrecks drifted like broken bones across the void. The Titan-class warship stood silent, its black hull glowing faintly from the energy it had unleashed. Humanity had done the impossible, but victory came with a cost fear. Across the galaxy, billions watched the transmission. They had seen fleets destroyed, dreadnoughts shattered, and armadas scattered by human weapons. No one could deny the truth anymore. Humanity was strong, far stronger than anyone had imagined. And now, the galaxy had to decide what to do about it. In the council chamber, voices clashed like blades. "They are too dangerous," shouted the Velari High Chancellor, her silver skin trembling. "No species should wield such weapons. Humanity must be contained before they consume us all." Others disagreed. The Xeran warlord rose, his armored body towering over the assembly. "Contain them? After what we have seen? They will not bow. They will not break. We must ally with them, or we will be swept aside." A third voice, quieter but sharper, cut through the shouting. "Perhaps it is already too late," murmured the elder of the Kree Dominion. His shadowed form shifted uneasily. "The humans have shown their firepower. What comes next may not be war. It may be rule." The council speaker slammed his staff on the floor, silencing them all. "The question before us is clear," he declared. "Do we stand against humanity, or do we kneel before them?" Meanwhile, aboard the Resolute, Admiral Holt listened as intercepted transmissions poured in. Her officers read the reports with wide eyes. "Admiral, some empires are pulling their fleets back. Others are begging for talks. But a few are still gathering forces. They mean to keep fighting." Holt nodded slowly. This was what she had expected. The galaxy was divided, torn between fear and pride. She spoke quietly, but her voice carried across the bridge. "They wanted proof of our strength. We have given it. Now comes the harder part, the choice. Will they see us as allies, or as conquerors?" The crew fell silent. They knew humanity's future now hung not on weapons, but on perception. Distant worlds, ordinary citizens argued and feared. On a farming moon of the Velari, a worker muttered to his neighbor, "If they can burn fleets so easily, what chance do we have if they come here?" On a mining colony of the Kroth, once loyal to Vorkesh, a young warrior whispered, "Perhaps it is better to follow the humans than die under their cannons." Even among soldiers, doubt spread. Some asked themselves, would I rather fight them or serve beside them? The galaxy was trembling not only with fear, but with uncertainty. Back in the council chamber, General Vorkish himself appeared, his red eyes blazing. Though his fleets were broken, his pride still burned. Cowards! He roared at the assembly. You would bow to these humans? They are vermin. I will rebuild, and I will crush them. But his words no longer carried the same power. Many who once cheered him now turned their heads away. His fleets had fallen. His dreadnought was ash. His voice was thunder with no storm. Still, others listened. Pride was dangerous, and pride still whispered in the hearts of many. The council speaker raised his staff once more. The humans have been summoned to attend this session, he announced. Their representative will speak, and then we will decide. The chamber fell into uneasy silence as the human ambassador entered. Kane walked with steady steps, his face calm. He carried no weapon, no armor, only the weight of Earth's victory. All eyes followed him. Some were filled with hate, others with awe, most with fear. Standing before the assembly, Kane spoke simply. Humanity did not seek this war. We did not ask to prove ourselves with blood, but when challenged, we answered. You saw our strength. You know now we cannot be broken. His eyes swept across the chamber. You must choose. Stand with us, and we will be allies. Stand against us, and we will answer as we did today. The silence that followed was crushing. The galaxy was staring into a mirror it had never wanted to face. Back on the Resolute, Admiral Holt listened as reports came in. Some empires voted to ally with humanity. Others voted for neutrality. But a handful, driven by rage and pride, voted for war. Her officer turned to her, pale. Admiral, it's not over. The galaxy is dividing. Civil war may be coming. Holt's gaze turned to the Titan, still drifting silently in the dark. For a moment, she imagined the future a galaxy torn apart. Earth at the center of it all. Her voice was soft, but filled with iron. Then we will be ready. Whatever choice they make, humanity will endure. And deep in the shadows of space, far from any council censor, another project stirred one even deadlier than the Titan. A weapon that would make firepower look like sparks. Humanity's true trump card still hidden. The galaxy thought they had seen everything. They had not. Asterisk humanity's legacy when humanity's firepower shook the galaxy. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The galaxy stood at the edge of chaos. Some empires had chosen peace, some had chosen neutrality, but others, blinded by pride, still demanded war. The council chamber was divided, its crystal walls echoing with voices of fear and rage. Ambassador Kane stood tall at the center. He had delivered Earth's message. Humanity's power had been proven. Now the galaxy's choice would be revealed. The speaker's voice shook the hall. The council has heard the humans. We must now decide, do we accept them? Or do we fight them? The chamber fell silent. Every leader knew the weight of this decision. A vote was cast, light by light, across the crystal walls. When the results appeared, the chamber trembled. Half the empires chose alliance with humanity. A third chose neutrality, unwilling to risk war. The rest chose war, their pride unwilling to bend. The galaxy was broken. On the Resolute, Admiral Holt received the transmission. Her officers stared at the results, their faces pale. Admiral, one whispered. They could not decide. We are not at peace. We are not at war. We are in both. Holt's eyes hardened. She had expected this. The galaxy was too vast, too divided, to unite in fear. Some would bow. Some would resist. And humanity would stand against them all. Then we prepare, Holt said firmly. For allies, we offer our hand. For enemies, we sharpen the blade. Her words spread across the human fleet. Fear turned into resolve. This was not the end. This was only the beginning. Across alien worlds, the impact was immediate. On planets where leaders voted for war, citizens rioted. Many refused to fight humanity, whispering that resistance meant death. On worlds that voted for peace, citizens lit candles, hoping that humans would become protectors, not conquerors. And in neutral systems, fear spread like wildfire. Merchants, soldiers, priests, everyone asked the same question. What will humanity do now? Back in the council chamber, General Vorkish rose one last time. His red eyes burned with hate, his voice echoing with venom. You may bow to these humans, but I will not. The Croth Dominion will rise again. And when it does, we will burn Earth to ashes. He stormed out of the chamber, his supporters following, but fewer than before. Many who once cheered him now looked away, unwilling to follow a doomed path. Kane remained calm. He knew the galaxy had heard enough threats. His voice, steady and cold, cut through the chamber. Remember this day. Humanity asked only for respect. You forced us to prove our firepower. If you seek war, you will find it. If you seek peace, we will stand with you. The choice was yours. Then he left, leaving silence in his wake. Resolute, Admiral Holt prepared her final message to Earth. Her crew gathered, waiting for her words. Today we changed the galaxy, Holt said, her voice steady. They thought us weak. They thought us prey. Now they know the truth. Humanity stands tall among the stars. But this victory is not the end. The galaxy trembles. Some will fight us. Some will join us, but all will remember us. Her eyes turned to the Titan-class warship drifting silently nearby, and beyond even that, to a project still hidden in the dark, a weapon even greater, waiting for its time. Holt's final words carried across the fleet and through them to every human heart. We are not conquerors. We are not slaves. We are survivors. We are hunters. And we will never kneel. Far away, across alien worlds, whispers spread. Children spoke of humans in awe. Soldiers told stories of fleets burned in seconds. Leaders trembled, knowing the balance of power had shifted forever. The day humanity's firepower shook the galaxy became legend. Yet even in victory, shadows remained dot in hidden space. Far beyond the Council's reach, fleets gathered in secret. Broken warlords plotted revenge, whispering of alliances forged in the dark. They knew humanity's strength, but they also believed no empire, not even Earth, could hold such power forever. And deep in Earth's laboratories, engineers worked on something greater than the Titan. A weapon so powerful it was whispered only in silence. Project Elysium. A final safeguard, should the galaxy ever rise against humanity again. The firepower that shook the galaxy was only the beginning. Asterisk.